Welcome back to Media Week. Plenty to talk about in the media space this weekend. We've got James Manning, editor of Media Week, joining us at the desk, my co-host, of course. Welcome, James, to the program.
Hello, Ingrid.
So let's talk what we're watching this week, because, of course, the New Look 9 has revealed its management structure just days from the takeover.
Yeah, look, they haven't made a lot of changes. Most people who are looking after things at Fairfax will still look after them under the 9 umbrella. You know, lots of expectation of the savings. Would that lead to sort of big retrenchments or anything? There's going to be about 92 people who will lose their jobs. But sort of 9 flagged that early on that would happen, affecting a bit over 100 positions, but 92 people. And
are they mainly sort of back office positions?
Correct, yeah, duplications across the business. So most sort of content creators and things like that, it's all going to be pretty much the same as. No clarity yet. So this week 9 did confirm, look, they are interested in picking up the part of Macquarie Media. Major shareholder there would be John Singleton, that they don't own, so to take them towards 100% ownership.
So what, they're in negotiations at the moment?
Yeah, but no, I guess 9 really can't say too much until they actually own the company, which sort of happens tomorrow, but then the shares start trading on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, so then we'll hear a little bit more from 9 next week. Hugh Marks will be over there in the Fairfax building next week. He'll talk to the teams. The Fairfax name will come down off the building. We'll see the Sydney Morning Herald and the Australian Financial Review go up in their place.
Right, okay, that's interesting. It's a big change, isn't it, to the media landscape?
It is, yeah, it really is.
Let's talk about TV ratings this year. We're nearing the end of the year. Who's won the TV ratings for this year, James?
Well, everybody's just focused on how well they have done, you know, in the 3 commercial free-to-air broadcasters. 7 has claimed, and there's no dispute this, that they won the combined share in all the key demos. So that's with 7 Mate. What else have they got? 7 Flicks and 7 2. They've just launched a new channel, of course, 7 Food, but that won't factor in until next year. So they've won. They've also won All People with their primary channel, but then 9's done very well with its primary channel in the key demographics. So they've both got good stories for their advertisers. 10 is just now really focusing on calling itself the Under 50s Network. So, and they've got some key properties that do very well, again, for that, you know, specific
age group.
Yeah, so there's things like The Bachelor. There's 3 different things, 3 different series within that franchise. There's Master Chef. There's Gogglebox, and that's in partnership with Foxtel. And one of the questions is, will that continue on in the future?
All right, well, we'll get to some of the weekly ratings. So I think is it the second last week or the last week of ratings this week?
We'll be looking at the last official week, yeah.
Okay, we'll be looking at that at the end of the program, so stick around for that one. But in the meantime, social media platform Twitter has globally reported its 3rd consecutive quarter of double-digit growth this year. Innovations have included introducing more live streaming video, and Twitter this week released details of what was engaging its audiences in 2018. It's also been purging fake accounts on its platform, which has impacted the metrics of some users. So to discuss the year in this market is Twitter Australia Chief Executive Susie Nicoletti. Susie, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So let's talk about the 2018 financial performance in Australia. Year on year, I guess, compared to other regions. How's it tracked?
We've had another tremendous year. So we actually don't split up by demographic, but globally, we've had 4 quarters now of profitability, 29% year-over-year revenue growth. And here in Australia, we're a part of Asia Pacific, which is the fastest growing region for the company. So we've been very, very happy with the success. We have gone strength to strength, and we have a lot of momentum heading into 2019.
So yeah, so you don't break out individual markets and give too much detail, but you said we're part of Asia Pacific.
Yes.
That did well.
Yes.
And we're quite a significant part of that in terms of revenue and audience numbers, is that right?
Absolutely. So what's really fueling the Asia Pacific is the video product. And here in Australia, that was really how we launched Twitter in this market. It's what consumers want, it's what brands want. And so we've actually put a massive focus on having premium content that has been driving this country forward. And that's a very big part of the Asia Pacific strategy.
So you said Asia Pacific's one of the fastest growing regions. Is it one of the fastest growing regions in the world? And why is that? Was it just late to the party? A lot of Asia Pacific late to the Twitter party?
Well, I think, you know, conversations are changing all the time. I think we've had a lot of strength, obviously, in Japan. It's one of our absolute biggest at this point. We've also had, you know, countries like Thailand is now one of our fastest growing markets. So I think we have new consumers using our platform and getting involved in new and interesting ways. So we're going to continue to see a lot of user growth alongside revenue strength from the overall region.
Susie, is the Australian Twitter audience, could you call it mature? Or as if you think there's still room for it to grow?
It's always growing and changing. I think there are things about it that are very consistent. So if we look at the trends for the year, what we are seeing, again, for the 5th year in a row, is Ozpoll, the #1 conversation happening on Twitter. So we're the most engaged place for politics, and if we go back to thinking about how that fits into the macro conversations, you know, we have libspill on this year's list. The conversation on the social event for libspill was actually bigger than any other political conversation in the Asia-Pacific. So bigger than Trump-Kim, #TrumpKim Summit. So this market definitely likes what it likes. It absolutely likes politics, it likes sport, it likes social movements, and it always has a bit of fun.
Well,
always
I guess
a good meet.
just if the Liberal Party's changed their rules to stop libspill happening so often,
That's not good for Twitter.
good news for you guys, right?
I guess with an election next year, that'll be pretty big for the Twitter sphere here at home as well, right?
Absolutely. We're definitely anticipating, you know, some more political conversation, but also a little bit of fun. So libspill was big, yes, massive conversation, but the #LibspillFilms, which was one of our biggest memes, was kind of showing the Aussie cheeky side of things, that humor. So what you always get with Australian Twitter is you get the serious, but you get the fun. So yeah. I'm looking forward to learning a lot next year from the platform, but also having a little bit of humor as well.
Talk to us about the commercial growth on the side, because a lot of people look at it and think, oh, it's a completely free platform. I don't need to be there paying for anything. But I guess, are you always going through an education process to companies, I guess, telling them what they can get out of it extra when they partner with you?
Absolutely. So 75% of our users in Australia follow brands. So brands are actually a really integral part of what brought the platform together for us in Australia. A lot of the strategy to date has been on giving, you know, premium brand safe content, which we've talked a bit about, whether it's, you know, FIFA, the Melbourne Cup, you know, actually giving fans that access. When we work with our brands, there's a lot we can do around aligning with moments, and the thing that we're actually starting to move into that we'll see more of next year is aligning with a brand purpose. So actually standing for something. I think consumers are starting to change, and they want to see brands actually align with what matters to them. So that's a piece of work we're just starting now that we'll see a lot more of in 2019.
And that gets underway with, I mean, Twitter's a good way to get people together, right? It's good for activism and social change, as you say.
Absolutely. So social movements have changed. There are a lot of our top moments have been around social movements, and I think the olden days of just being able to see a hashtag and like it and feel like you're involved have changed. You know, the online to offline paradigms really come to life. And we saw this, you know, with climate change being our 6th biggest trend, you know, and that led into Climate Strike, which was an actual, you know, movement that happened last week with students. You see something like Me Too, which started on Twitter and became global, was actually a top hashtag here in Australia, and you had Tracy Spicer using the platform to inform the campaign she later launched. So I think we're seeing that online and offline world merge, and social movements is a big part of that.
What have you learnt about content this year? Because you know you had a lot of announcements about new content partnerships for streaming video, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
What things have you learnt that maybe crystallised for you?
I think that the Australian audience always wants more, which is great, right? I think for a while we were live streaming. We were so proud of our live streams. We had a great Melbourne Cup again this year, over 2 million views. Aria's another amazing exclusive live stream, 3.4 million viewers. But what we're seeing now is people want more bespoke content. So we actually did an SBS World Cup show, and we're actually moving into a place with, you know, AFL armchair experts where people kind of want that expertise. They want some exclusive access, and so I think we're going to start to see some more interesting cuts of content come to life. We're also seeing a rise in women's. All right, so our women's sports are moving up the ranks. So AFL Women's is gone up to #4. The Matildas are in there, and we have our big, you know, female athletes actually really growing their usership on Twitter as well.
In terms of one issue is, I guess, policing people and the way they use the platform. You know, trolls tend to come out in online platforms in droves. I mean, how important is that to Twitter and the future of Twitter as well? Yeah,
it's critical. It's everything. Our CEO and co-founder, Jack Dorsey, was out here in Australia earlier this year, and we need to have a platform where people can express themselves, where they feel comfortable coming to share and discuss their perspectives. So making sure we have a very safe platform is important. We've made a number of changes to our policies to make sure that it is a place that people can come and feel like they can express their voice.
tells you about your innovation roadmap. I still think having 280 characters is recent, but I guess it's been probably a year now we've had that. Are there lots
Good
more
change.
things?
I like that change.
Yeah. Are there lots more things you can do, and have you had a peek at what might be coming next year?
I think next year what we're going to see, if we go back to the beginning of the year, we had Tourism Australia owning the Super Bowl, one of the most iconic moments, on Twitter of the year, owning the pre and post conversation. I think we're going to see more big brand innovation. I think brands are more comfortable on Twitter, and we're going to start to see bigger plays. I also think from a product perspective, Live's going to become more discoverable, so you can expect to see a little bit more with Live. And also brands leaning into purpose and actually expressing different sides of themselves and being a part of issues.
Sounds exciting. We'll look forward to see what happens into 2019. Susie Nicoletti, really appreciate your time on the show. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
All right, a quick check now, as promised, on the final ratings week for the year. Kicking it off, this is week 48 with Free to Air. And let's take a look at what we're watching in top 5. News taking the top 2 spots, as you'd imagine there, James. It tends to do that.
Yeah, look, and we're seeing all 3 networks. There were 4, count the ABC, throw that in there. But Paramedics just doing fantastic business for 10.
Good mix there, isn't it?
I actually think I might be 9's Paramedics. 10 is called Ambulance Australia.
Yeah,
but they're both performing very well. Hard Quiz, again, we've seen that a couple of times creep into the top 5 ABC game show.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's look at subscription television now and the top 5 for week 48. And here you have cricket, no doubt taking out the top spot, the T20.
Yeah, look, lots of people watch this stuff and also get on the Twitter when they're doing it.
And there's the women's cricket as well, taking out...
Yeah, look, fantastic. We had Peter Campbell in from Fox Sports last week, and he told us how well it had been doing. And look, there's the evidence to get in the top 5. You wouldn't have just thought that would be possible a couple of years ago, but people really loving their women's sport.
Yeah, that's great. Socceroos as well in there, and a movie to top it off. James Manning, co-host, editor and publisher of Mediaweek. Appreciate your time on the show today. Thanks for joining us.